So yeah, I just wanted to get started. First off, I saw the. I want to start off at where I was at earlier. So I came home, got on my computer, and saw about 20 minutes after the fact that the post or the emails had went out, that the new rules had came out, and I'm just going to go ahead and for anybody who don't know what the new rules are, the new rules that Amazon's going to implement November 15th is that any shirt design that has been posted for 60 days without a sale is going to be removed from the catalog. So it's just going to be automatic. Amazon's going to take it out. So my first reaction to this was a little bit of frustration, and because as many had, because I thought about all the many designs I have up that didn't sell for the first 60 days and may have sold afterwards. For example, I post designs far in advance, like for Christmas. I was posting some for Christmas back in March and in June and back in the summer. So there's some designs I have that will sit for a while before they start selling. So that was a little bit frustrating to me. But then I went and I went to the forums and I looked into it a little bit deeper. And I found that the merch team has actually created an entire section in their frequently asked questions for this new rule and new set of the new way they're going about things. They have a whole new section for that. And so I just wanted to run through that really quickly because I know some people have missed it. I know I missed it the first 30, 45 minutes that I was sort of frustrated about it. I mean, it actually cleared up a lot. And that ain't all we're going to do on this webinar. I'm actually going to talk about some more things about like strategies involved and everything after I go through this. But I wanted to make sure everybody has all the information that they need before we can really talk about it in detail. So I'm just going to run through the frequently asked questions really quickly. The first was what was changing, and I just explained that. The exact way they worded it was Merch by Amazon will only keep live for sale those T-shirt designs that have received at least one unreturned order within the first 60 days of being published. And I think the reason they specified unreturned, I know some people had some issues with that wording. They said, well, we can't help it if it's unreturned. That's true, but I think what they're trying to prevent is people actually purchasing the designs themselves just to get that sale in and then returning it, and because that would they're trying to prevent that issue before it actually comes up.
Yeah, so, that would be a big flood of sales and returns, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it would be easy to do, and if it was within the rules, you know, plenty of people would go about that.
Yep.
So they wanted to go ahead and prevent that from happening before it actually took place. So why is Merch making this policy change? And it talks about, it says additionally, or it says we want to help content creators generate more revenue from their designs. This policy supports these goals by encouraging content creators to curate their design portfolio to ensure quality and promote sales. And so what this says to me is that they simply want higher quality designs in their catalog, which I'm fond of. I completely agree with that, and I think that's an awesome method of going about it at this point, now that I understand it a little bit more deeply. Policy takes effect November 15th. It says, under what conditions are designs removed? Each day, Merch by Amazon will review the T-shirts that haven't sold within the first 60 days of being published. If the shirt has had at least one sale in the previous 60 days, it won't be removed. So this is going to be like a rolling process. So every day, I would imagine and I would hope that sometime in the future, maybe they'll send us an email saying these are the designs that are getting removed today. And send you a list of maybe 10, 15, in my case, maybe 100. Hopefully not 100, but a lot of designs that will be removed. And so what my understanding is on November 15th, they're actually going to look back throughout your entire portfolio of designs that were posted 60 days prior. I actually didn't do the math on what day 60 days prior to November 15th is. But whatever day that is, any designs that was posted then back, if they've not sold, they're out. And I hope they can give us a detailed list of what those designs are. But I know moving forward, it's going to be more obvious as it talks about in the next, I think the next question. Yeah. How will I know if my t-shirt is scheduled to be removed? It says the designs with no sales after 30 days will be marked as pending removal on the portal. So you can go in there and the Manage Design tab, Merch by Amazon, and actually filter it by two ways: pending removal and then remove design. So those that have been in there 30 days without sales, you can actually look at all those, and those that have actually been removed, you can look at those separately. And so it says designs within 10 days of removal will display another warning. So you're going to have two sets of chances there to make some changes, and that's actually what part of the strategy talk I'm going to talk about a little bit later, in just a few minutes, because I actually have some ideas about that. And if I purchase my shirt to keep my design in the program, will that count for a sales order? So it's saying, if I purchase the shirt for myself, will it count? It says self-purchases will count. So that's pretty straightforward. They have a longer answer there, but that works. Can I view removed designs even if they're not available? Yes, so it will keep a list. It says that you will be notified through your account. What will happen to product pages after removed designs? The URL will show a product unavailable page, and that can get a little bit frustrating if you're going to have a campaign, but you need to get those campaigns in the first 60 days is what they're trying to do if you have any advertising campaigns or anything like that. Removal of a design will not affect your account standing, so that's great. They made that clear. It says what guidance is available to help content creators generate sales, and there are some tips in there, and then there's other people who has tips, like some of the things me and Dave has talked about. The 60-day status starts when a t-shirt goes live. Okay, 3 more questions here. Can you re-upload a removed design? Yes, you can. That's another thing I'm going to talk about in terms of strategy. I think that's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a good idea to do. And a good opportunity. How soon is my available design count updated after removal? It will be reflected immediately as soon as they're gone. And then, is there policy exceptions with seasonal designs? And it says no. But it says that you may resubmit the design in advance to expected peak sales cycles. So now that we got all that information out of the way, I thought that was good to cover really quickly before we dove into the process. I wanted to see, I wanted to ask Dave. Me and Dave hasn't got to talk a whole lot since earlier. See if Dave had any immediate questions that come to mind after hearing about this, and then I'd like to know if anybody else had any immediate questions as well before we really get into strategy and things like that.
I don't have any immediate questions. I'm kind of wondering about the whole pros and cons of this. I know that suddenly having a large number of your designs deleted, or maybe let's use the word archive, because we'll have a list of the designs in a new tab in our back end. So we're going to be able to see, at least they set a list. Now this is where I think it's important to clarify, because they didn't say they'll have your designs archived. They said a list of your designs. So I think it's important that we maybe, as we start to see these designs in the tab, because they're going to have a tab, a rolling 30-day tab that shows designs that are destined for removal, maybe we take those descriptions, titles, keywords, all that stuff, and put them on a spreadsheet or something to save them for future use, or maybe for other use, like on other providers. But yeah, I'm more interested in kind of what do you see? Because I mean, you're the most experienced merch seller that I know, Daniel, and I think you've got a good, you've got better data, so to speak. You've got better idea from the volume of shirts that you're selling of what you think the pros and cons are. Maybe we have a little discussion on that, and then we start talking about strategy, like what we can do to improve and to really maximize our results.
Well, I think there's definitely more pros than cons. the only cons that I can really think of, for me anyway, is for anybody who knows my strategy knows that I have some not a good amount, but a decent amount of my designs are more long tail. They don't necessarily have to sell every day for me to be happy. So if I do have one that may only sell every, say, 2.5 months, and his first sale doesn't come in those 60 days, then I'm just gonna have to pay my future brother-in-law Oscar to just post it again. So that's a con on my part. But I think the pros vast outweigh it. For example, you're gonna have a whole lot of competition. Even copycats are just going to be gone on November 15th, and that's going to be fantastic. Because what happens, and a lot of people, I don't know if they really realize this, but at least with the data that I've seen, I'll get to that question, Danielle. That's a good question. But from what I've seen a lot of the times is that the copycats and then those who are very, very, very near to a copycat, they typically don't get many sales at all. It seems like first to the market, you have a good advantage on it. Like if you have a shirt that says, I love my mom, if you were the first one in that says, I love my mom, it really don't matter, or it does matter, but it don't matter much what your design looks like or the price or anything like that. If you're first to the market, you have a large advantage over the rest of everybody else. So a lot of these saturated niches were going to be a little less saturated. Those t-shirts, yeah, they haven't sold, so they weren't stealing sales from you. But what they can do is Amazon customer can go to Amazon, say they type in I love my mom t-shirt, and there's 4,000 different designs. That's going to be information overload for the customer. And so even though yours may be vastly superior and even their ideal price, if they see the whole first page full of just other designs that even are similar or maybe even not similar but just say the same thing, they're not going to be as apt to buy the top choice. That goes back to Amazon recommends only choosing 3 colors for their t-shirts, and that's because the less choice you give people, the more likely they are to actually go through with the purchase. And so I think
that's actually there's a very strong saying in marketing that is, and in sales, that says, because a confused mind always says no. So if you give, like you just said, if you give somebody too many choices, and especially like you said, you've got a bunch of the same shirt up and variations of it and that kind of thing, it's very difficult for someone to make a choice. And a lot of people they'll click away, because the internet mind is very fickle. They'll just bounce from thing to thing. It's so easy to click to another thing and another product and, just change your mind. So I see that as a really good plus for sure. And I have a sense that it's going to increase the sale of the shirts that do make it past that filter. And it's going to be an overall stronger market for shirts in general. So that's a big plus, I think. That it's going to kind of weed out the people that aren't really serious about merch. Because think of the people who are copycats. They're not really serious about merch. They're kind of leeching off of other people and that kind of thing. And I think by making this change, that's a really big plus that's going to help conversion rates. I have a sense that Amazon, because they're a data-driven company, they can see the data, and maybe they've been seeing, this is pure speculation on my part, but maybe they've been seeing a decrease in conversions on t-shirts, on merch, because copycats and all these things and just a flood of people coming into merch. And they decided, we need some quality control over this, over and above just approving a design, and letting it come into the marketplace. So that part I think is awesome about this change.
Yeah, and the other fantastic part is that you're going to have people who are going to come on. So say you have the I Love My Mom t-shirt. There's 4,000 designs there to say. And then on November 15th, it's cut down to 3, where you're going to have 3 really good selling shirts. And people are going to jump on there, and they're going to see that. And they're going to say, well, there's only 3 of these. I can jump into this market. And what's going to happen is those may not sell either. But it's going to give it a better opportunity to sell. because
True.
it is going to be the 4th listing instead of the 4,001st. So that's going to be good. But then also, if theirs doesn't sell, chances are, I feel like chances are that people are not going to be willing to repost things as quickly as some would think, because like I know me, for example, I'm going to be reposting anything that don't sell. I'm going to be reposting it because I wouldn't have made the design in the first place if I wasn't confident in its ability to sell eventually. So, and economically, it's gonna make sense for me to repost anyway, to a point. And so for me, I'm going to, and I think other serious sellers are going to, because you should be posting designs that you're confident in. And if you're posting things you aren't confident enough in to post again, then why do you post it in the first place? Is sort of what I'm thinking. But I do think a lot of people are going to lose that confidence. Just like how now you hear a lot of people say, or at least it was my case, and I've heard others say it, that like they dipped their toe in Teespring at one point, and what they did, they posted a design and nobody bought it, and then they said, "Okay, forget it." And so I feel like that's going to happen here with merch. Is people's going to post designs? Maybe people are going to jump in and post a design or two, or maybe even fill their 25 slots up, and they may sell 1 or 2. But then come 60 days later, all 25 of their, or all shirts except for 2 of them are gone. And they're going to be discouraged and think, well, I'm not going to post anymore. So that'll be good for those who want to stick to it and actually make a actual viable passive income from it. So so that's another advantage for those of us who are going to take it seriously and actually work at it. And so that's 2 pros. And then another thing, like you was talking about, the data-driven portion of it, there's other aspects to it that we can't know. We can speculate, but I fully trust Amazon's data and their ability to read that data, because they are not out. I said this in the group earlier on Facebook. They are not out to make the sellers happy. Their full focus and purpose is to make the customer happy. So if it makes the customer happy, it's going to benefit us in the long run if we just work with it.
Absolutely. And thinking of data, they have a year's worth of data now with merch. You know, they were coming on the heels of the 1-year anniversary. So they've had a year to get a sense of this marketplace and get a sense of conversion rates, how many people click on a shirt, and then how many times that shirt sells and things like that. So that's an awesome thing. You know, it very much feels like we're going to have healthier merch accounts going forward. You know, healthier merch accounts and a healthier marketplace that's not just flooded. Maybe later we can talk about what we might do with some of these designs if we decide not to repost them here. You know, or maybe on a different show we can talk about some of the other platforms that we could upload our designs on. Kind of like the sloppy seconds that we could put on another platform. So yeah. Anyway, what are some other pros or cons that you see as part of this?
I think the only difficulty I'm going to have with it, the main difficulty I'll say, so this will be a con, is that, so I have 10,000 slots right now, and it's very possible I'm going to get tiered up soon. But so I have 10,000 slots. And I've not done the math at all, but if I had to guess, I have over 6,000 designs posted right now, and if I had to guess, I'd probably have over 2,000 deleted on November 15th. And I know that sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but that's just, like I said, my strategy does not involve a shirt selling every day, so that's fine by me. So that a con to me is going to be, do I, as confident as I am in those 2,000 designs, or however many it turns out to be, do I want to repost those, or do I want to devote my time to creating new ones and doing that? So I think that'll just be a matter of time management. And if I have the time to create new, I may try those, but I'll probably just repost. So it's just, I'm going to have to run some numbers on that one, and that's another con there.
So you said your sense is that about 2,000 designs will be removed, but out of how many did you say total that you have
I
up
have
right
over
now?
6,000 posted right now.
Okay, that's an awesome number, I think. In my opinion, that's a great number. You know, to have 2,000 removed out of 6,000, in other words, to have 4,000 designs that have sold at least one, that's a really good number. That's a
Well,
really
and like I said, I've not read these numbers at all. That's my
right.
guess.
Yeah, you're just kind of
Yeah,
guesstimating, but still.
yeah. So,
Um,
and I'm not exactly sure how many of mine has been posted in the past 60 days. It's been quite a few. So I don't know. It's going to be really amazing to see what that actual number is. And I will be, here's our shout out. I will be posting that number in our Merch by Amazon success group, mine and Dave's. So, and I may post that over in the sister group, Merch Success.
Merch Success, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, special thanks to John, who is one of the admins. He allowed us to post the webinar on there. Hope the people figure out a way to get to this new webinar location. In any case, we're recording it, so that's the good news. All right, what are some of the negatives that you see, or additional negatives that you see from this change?
Well, I've had a little time to think about it this evening, and I can't really think of a whole lot more negatives besides that. Well, there is one that other people are bringing up as an issue, and that's you can't post holiday designs further out than the 60 days, basically, before the holiday season starts.
Right.
Now that is something that I think can be worked around, and I was going to talk about that some of the strategies part, but I'll just mention that right now. I think that if you have a Christmas design, say, I should have done some math on this beforehand, but 60 days before December 25th, let's just throw it out there that that's October 25th. I know that's probably not right, but it's close. So October 25th, you don't necessarily have to post that design on October 25th. You can back that up a good 2 weeks because Christmas designs start selling before Christmas. So let's just say October 14th or 11th. And then even if you want to back it up before that, what I'm thinking is that you could back that up 55 days, say, 55 days prior to that and post it then if you'd like. And then if it comes down and you get that 10-day warning, once you get that 10-day warning, if it's still not sold, then you can just post another listing is the way I see it. You can just post another listing, the exact same thing. Maybe even, and that would be a good opportunity to modify some keywords, maybe put some new ones in there that you think might be relevant. And then, so you have two overlapping listings that are the same shirt. And you might even put them under two different brand names and sort of A/B test there on that if you'd like. And that way, so when if this one right here gets deleted, you'll already have this one running. So it'll already be in the way. It'll already be gaining some traction. And so that's something I was thinking about there, that you could sort of do it that way. And yeah, it's not going to be the same because this second listing is not going to have all of the momentum of the first one, but at least you already got it up, and you're not going to have a time period there where it's not there. So you can be proactive about it and jump on it before it actually gets deleted. And then if you have A and B up, and then A actually sells before it gets deleted, then you can just pull B, and then that way you still do have the momentum. So that's what I'm thinking there.
That's good, but imagine the amount of time that it would take to kind of keep track of all this, those kinds of issues. It actually might be. I'm going to assume we're in the strategy part of this now, okay? Because we've covered some of the basics and the pros and cons. But it actually might work if you're, for example, if you're married. My wife just about a week ago got approved for merch with her own account. So if you're married, maybe you have your spouse set up a merch account, open it up, and then maybe you can play that way. That way you're keeping track of two different accounts. Maybe you're shifting, like you said, you're doing this strategy, but you're doing one in one account, the other one in the other account, and you're tracking both that way. at the end of the day, it's really just it's a spreadsheet situation, I think. You know, you could probably work it on a spreadsheet pretty easily. I'm just not that good with spreadsheets.
Yeah, and Danielle actually has a good point there. And I'm planning on going through these comments towards the end. I am reading them as they're coming in.
Yep.
Danielle had a really good point I want to go ahead and point out. That is also a con. She said Pinterest links will die, which is the same with Twitter links will die, Facebook links will die. Those will die, and I do agree with that. But let's see, Rick said for every issue there can be a solution. And I agree with that. And so my solution for the links dying is that you can actually, I had a site up for a while. I no longer have it up. I switched it over to a Shopify store. But I had a site up for my main brand name. And it had all of my, well, it didn't have all of my shirts, but it did have a small portion of my shirts up with direct links to the Amazon page. So, for example, if I had an I Love My Mom shirt under my brand name, Sharpie Apparel, then I had the store's name was sharpieapparel.com, and then the listing there, I Love My Mom t-shirt. So you click on it, and you would add it to your cart, and when you went through to purchase, it automatically moved you over to Amazon. So, and I did all that through a VA. So what could potentially be done there is that if you have links like that, you could just send your links to, you could set up something like that, something similar to that, and then you can send the links to that page on your site, on your brand site, and then once, if you do have to switch out, say if you have to post again or you're switching out like that, then you can just simply, which I say simply, but it's not that simple, but it is something you can get a VA to do. You can switch out that link on your site. So that way your Pinterest link, you don't have to switch out your link on Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook and all these other places. You can just switch it out on that main site and have all those social media sites linking to your brand site. I don't really know what to call that, but you could just have those sites, those social media sites linking to your brand site instead of the Amazon page.
Right.
Yeah. Rick says backlinks. I think that, I guess that's right there. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of Chrome extensions, what kind of management tools are going to hit the market. You know, I know Chris Green is good about coming out with new Chrome extensions all the time. He's real big on that. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of tools come out to help us manage this, because it is going to be a managerial task. And I don't know. I don't actually know if I guess we could hire a VA. I'm not sure I want a VA in my account, though.
Yeah, well, and that's not, and I mean, for like if you need the link switched out, like you can have a VA can have your access to your site, like the one that I was at your brand name site,
right?
And then if they need to switch out a link, you could just email them a link to
true.
The new page. Yeah, and Allison had a good point there. She said she won't tend to make a direct link until it sells. So that's another solution. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. Yep. And so just rely on Amazon traffic. Once Amazon traffic proves it for you, then you know you can send it out to the social media sites. I actually like that idea. So, and that's far simpler.
Yeah, that's a good point that Allison made. Also, if you guys wanted to, if you have a WordPress site, there's a great little plugin called Pretty Link, just like it's spelled, Pretty Link. And that's a little plugin that you attach to your WordPress site, and it's basically a link shortener, just like you would use with Bitly or Google, GOOG.LE or whatever. Anyway, the Pretty Link is cool because it works through your WordPress site. You can create your own link. Like mine would be davespino.com/I-love-my-mom, for example, you know, using the t-shirt. And then if things change, like if that link gets pulled off of Amazon for whatever reason and you relist it, you know, so now it has a new Amazon link, you could switch it out with that same URL. So it would be davespino.com/I-love-my-mom. It would just be going to the new Amazon link, you know, and so on. So so Pretty Link is basically like a link shortener. Rick asked the question, does it work on Shopify? I'm not real familiar with Shopify, but I would imagine it works just about anywhere. I've seen it work on anything, whether it's social media posts or on websites or whatnot. So it should work just like any other link shortener. The only thing is it's yours. So you could come up with a really cool, a really cool URL, like incrediblet-shirts.com, and you don't even have to create a website out of it. Just use it to use the pretty link, and then it'll be incrediblet-shirts.com / whatever your t-shirt is.
There you go. There's another simple solution too. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
So I would love to see what kind of questions you all have about this, how you guys feel about it too. We'd love to hear about your thoughts on simplicity is divinity. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, there you go. And one con I didn't mention earlier, I'm sort of going back to that really quickly that I forgot to mention, is, at least for this first round, while we get some questions in here, is for this first round we're not going to have any warning, from my understanding. Of course, in the future they're going to start warning us, giving us 30 days and 10 days warning. This first batch on November 15th, I think it's going to come out as blind. Unless you can pull all of your CSV data and actually figure it out that way to know, but that's a lot. It may not be a hassle for some people, but for me it would be. So it's just going to be blindly. You're going to have designs gone on November 15th. So that is going to be a little tough. That's going to be a con definitely at the beginning, but that'll be a distant memory here in 6 to 8 months. So
here's a good question from Rocco. I'm going to ask you this question, Daniel. Do you think a race to the bottom will occur due to people lowering their prices to get that first sale? Since all we need to do is post, make sure that our shirt makes one sale and it doesn't get refunded, right, or returned. And with millions of designs, I'm sorry, I got mixed up, and ruin the sales of people with higher prices.
I don't know about it necessarily ruining the sales of those with higher prices. I think it's definitely going to happen some, but a year ago, over a year ago, well, let's see, no, it was around a year ago in November. I remember when I got in, there was a lot of other people getting in, and people was just, then they were terrified that so many people coming in November of last year was going to start dropping the prices down, and all of the whole thing was going to be just ridiculously low by this point this year. And we've seen that even though more and more people has came into the platform, prices still haven't been driven very low. There is some, I have noticed in some areas that the prices are lower, have been lowered to the point that it has affected some of my sales for my higher price t-shirts, but not as much as I would have thought. So I feel like this is another thing like that there's going to be some people trying it, and it may cause a little bit of effect, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. I think that people are going to come in, and the people who are going to try that are going to be those who are a little more experienced, and are going to actually be trying to do that, or those who may be just starting up and they think, well, if I throw a low price on there, then people are going to buy it. But as we have seen, Amazon customers are very price sensitive, and so they're going to be, in my opinion and in my experience, it seemed like they are more apt to buy higher price t-shirts. So people can try that all they want to, but that don't necessarily mean it's going to work.
Yeah, and to follow up on what you just said, Daniel, I think it's important to know that you've done quite a bit of testing on pricing, and what you've seen is that you've got a pretty good sweet spot on the right prices that do well, and you've even done the math about how many shirts it takes at $14.99, for example, to equal a $24.99 or a $20.99 shirt, and that the math seems to bear out that slightly higher prices are good. That people see that as higher quality, even though they don't really know that it's the same shirt, and that it works well for conversions for you. So it may be, in a weird way, it may be that this whole rush to the bottom, that if people really believe, that they need to sell their shirts for a lot less, will actually help people that stick with the higher pricing, and that's interesting too, because part of this is kind of a philosophical question of how much do I believe in this design?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
do I believe in this design enough to either lower my price to the floor, or do I believe in this design enough to buy it myself to ensure that it gets that one sale, you know? Or do I believe more that as I go through this, let's think of this as a timeline, right? As you're going through your merch business, as I go through this timeline, am I getting better and better at spotting designs that are going to sell? You know, and that's really the key, I think, here to this strategy is we need to get good at spotting and determining what's selling. Not just hot trending topics, you know, but what would perennially sell too. So it's
Yeah.
tricky. It's a real tricky balance that we have to figure out here.
Yeah, and one of the things I was going to talk about in terms of strategy is an idea about possibly, and this is something I'm thinking about. Of course, I've not had a chance to test it, but possibly dropping prices maybe $1 at the first warning, and then $1 at the second warning, and just see if that affects anything.
Mm.
And I think that if people would do that, I know I may try it. Then they can have some good data and see that, okay, this shirt sold 0 at $22.95 for the first 30 days, but then it sold 6 at $21.95 in the next 20 days. So, and then that way it can sort of help you. That's a pro there, is you can you can find a sweet spot there for that specific shirt.
I like that.
Yeah, so that way you can do that. And then if you lower it down again on that third warning, then you've tried 3 different prices, and so that may indicate to you that the problem's not the price at all. It may be the keywords you use, or it may be the design. So if you go through and you post it again, you modify the keywords and you reload it back at the original price, and then you go through that process again, and it still doesn't sell, and you use different keywords again. My idea is if you post it 3 times using 3 different sets of keywords, and then you try the pricing scheme on each one, then you have a very good indicator there that it might be the actual design that's the problem, and you may need to go back to the drawing board on that design. So, so I think this is actually sort of gearing people up towards a more healthy account, like you said earlier, a more healthy account, not just in terms from a market perspective, but also from just a pure quality perspective from what we have in our accounts.
Yeah, I really like that strategy. Did you just come up with that, or have you been thinking about it?
Well, I mean, I sort of had it pieced together, but then I just brought it all together right there.
That's awesome, because it is true. We are going to receive warnings ahead of these things being removed. So why not right at that warning point, or, you know, it's probably a rolling 30-day thing, but daily check which ones have gone into that tab and drop the price a little bit on those. And like you said, it's almost like you're finding a sweet spot. I'm not so sure I would repost 2 or 3 times, but I would definitely want to lower the price, maybe $2. Most of my shirts sell for $22.99, so maybe drop it to $20.99, and then the second time drop it to like $18.99, and just give it those 2 chances for it to sell. And then if it doesn't sell, maybe chalk it up to it's not a great design, and it's kind of been a self-filtering process. You know, I really like that idea. I mean, that's awesome.
And I think too, though, you got to be careful. Which I know if you're only going down to $18.99, then that's okay. But I think people have to be careful and make sure that they have a floor there.
Right.
You don't want to drop it down to. I mean, you may want to. I've seen people do it, but I know I don't want to drop it down to, like, say, $14.95 or something like that, because you're not. I mean, yeah, you're going to make some money, but you're going to have to sell a lot of those shirts to actually make any substantial amount. So I think that's sort of, people need to be careful and make sure they have a floor there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's see what other questions we have got here. We've been piling up some questions and some comments here. I bet somebody will be coming up with some editing software or extensions to speed up the process of culling out the older ones. Yeah, part of that will be helped by merch themselves. We'll have a separate tab that shows kind of the warnings I guess we'll have names for all these. Danielle says, what about purchase designs that don't sell? Do you just eat the money or start buying designs at a lower price? Do designers take returns?
Yeah, no, I don't think designers take returns. But designs that don't sell, like Dave said earlier, we may could have a separate we could probably do a whole separate webinar on things we could do with designs that don't sell. But just off the top of my head, reposting them with different keywords, like I was just talking about, is definitely an option. But then also posting them to different sites. I actually have some designs up on Redbubble right now. I hired a VA a couple weeks ago, and he's posted about 240 designs up on Redbubble at this point.
Wow.
I've made about 4 or 5 sales, so probably made about $25 now. I paid him like 60 to get all those 240 up there. So I'm not broke even yet, but that many, I mean, at that rate, at that pace, I will make my money back. So that's pretty awesome. But anyway, so that's an option, Redbubble. I mean, then you're looking at Zazzle, Cafe Press, all these different places, Etsy, if you want to go that route. And so you got different avenues you can post them. And the thing is that if you're paying, I don't know, I can't remember who you said asked the question now. Danielle, yeah. So Danielle, I don't know how much you're paying your designer, but you may need to look at paying cheaper options for designers, because then it's a lot easier to get your money back. For example, I pay really no more than $1.50 per design at this point, unless I'm working with Gary Greenwood. I work with him very occasionally, but for the most part, very, very large percentage, over 99.9% of my designs, I pay less than $1.50 for. And so at that rate, I can make my money back really easily, because even if I sell one shirt on merch for $19.95, then I just made my money back for about 5 different designs right there. Right. So only 1 out of 5 designs that I get created has to sell for me to break even, basically. I think I'm doing the math right there. Anyway, it's really easy to get your money back when you pay a small amount. So yeah, definitely look for smaller amounts or designers who will work for a smaller amount of money. And then I'll put this plug in here. If you want to learn how I do that in detail, Dave and I have a course out at merchstrategies.com where we talk about that in pretty detail. I mean, as detailed as I could talk about it. So that's definitely an option there.
Yeah, I just posted the link. That is Daniel's advanced course. And you know, one of the things I was thinking about, Daniel, as I was thinking about this change and processing it today, I was thinking, man, this makes your course even more valuable because you've been doing the merch business correctly. And what I mean by that is you've been doing it in a way that this particular change does not affect you negatively in a huge way, because of a lot of reasons. Some of the reasons I really can't get into without telling what, more details that are in the course. But suffice to say that this doesn't this doesn't make your course less valuable, or our course less valuable. It actually makes it more valuable in this new era of this change. So that's a good thing. While we're on the subject of plugs, I want to plug our Facebook group, Merch by Amazon Success. For those who are not members of our group yet, we'd love to have you come over. This is where we post the latest, newest stuff about merch. Thanks, Danielle, for joining. Daniel's on there. He's our admin as well. I'm the admin. And Daniel and I have co-produced 2 courses about merch. First one is the beginner's course about merch that's on Udemy. And the second one is the merch strategies course that we just talked about that's on a separate, a different account called Teachable. All right, let's see.
Well, I actually scrolled back to the beginning here because I know I missed some questions at the beginning. So if you don't mind, I'll jump on this one. Rick said, Daniel, how will you manage all your designs now? Actually, like Dave was just saying, with my process, actually, I can say I have a spreadsheet. Basically, I have a whole spreadsheet set out where I already have everything in there. So whenever things get deleted, it'll be super easy for me to just go right back to it, and I can just pull the information right back. And so I already have that set up. So that'll be good. And then if I need to know, like this first batch, when they're just like knocked out, that's going to be a little more difficult, but it'll just be a matter of Control F and finding what I'm looking for.
Right.
So, let's see. You can tell me now, Dave, if you find any questions. I'm still scrolling from up down to look.
Yeah, maybe we're just kind of arbitrarily going through this. I think Danielle said comparing Redbubble's sales to Amazon's is almost unfair. No platform is like this one. That's true. And talk a little bit about Amazon. Amazon is the 800-pound gorilla. They are the biggest buyer search engine in the world. Amazon's where you want to be. But as we go through this, remember, today's the first day of this change. So as we kind of put our minds together and as we go and brainstorm, there may be some ways that we can profit from those designs that maybe they don't have to do with Redbubble, and maybe there are other ways to promote. So I'm just, in the back of my mind, my marketing mind is thinking about ways that we could still use those designs and still benefit from them. So, but it's true, there is no other platform like Amazon. There's no competition.
And one thing I did want to mention, sort of unrelated to what she was just talking about, but I just looked at my notes here and saw that there was something I had not talked about. One thing that this does give us a really good one benefit, a big benefit, I think, to this is that it will let people look at every design they post with a more keen eye for what has worked with my other designs, what made this design not sell for these first 60 days. And people actually look at it a little bit harder. And I think that one thing that gives everybody an opportunity to do, especially those in the lower tier, but even guys like me who have 10,000 designs, it's going to be, it'll be really easy to look at a design and say, okay, this design is about, let's just say, for example, miniature schnauzers. This design is about miniature schnauzers. So it hasn't sold in 60 days. So what can I do to make this design sell? And it'll make you look into things like, well, here's a Facebook group that says, I love miniature schnauzers. I'm going to message this admin of this group and say, can I post this shirt because I really want it to sell? And it'll give everybody a little bit more motivation to want to put a little bit more effort into each of their shirts. And I wrote down in my notes, hard press it, and sort of hard press that design into the market and sort of get it out there and sort of give you a new perspective on, instead of it being like, in my mind, t-shirts have almost became a widget to me. It's just like I've got this process of turning them out, but now it's sort of like I'm going to walk into the factory, I'm going to pick them up one by one and take a look at them from all angles and sort of make sure they're getting the attention they need, each one. So I think that'll be good. And of course, you don't want to waste a lot of time doing that. You can get caught in the weeds. I've seen people get caught in the weeds doing that.
Right.
I love with the design, but I'm saying that you can actually, this can be a little extra motivation. So like in my case, I won't have to pay another $1 to get it reposted by Oscar. I can actually really try to focus and try to save that money and make profit in the process. So.
Yeah, I love what you're talking about being more creative and more thoughtful and more careful. Maybe the word is more purposeful with each design that you decide to upload. Because, I mean, I don't want a design that I upload to sit there for 60 days, not make a sale, and get removed. That's such a waste of effort and time. When with maybe a little bit of preparation, a little bit of thought, a little bit of better keywording, a little bit of just being more purposeful about it, you could make it into making more sales or making one sale. I have one example. Let me kind of apply some real life to this. I posted on our Merch by Amazon Success group, I think last week, that I'd made 32 sales of one shirt. And it's been really exciting. I think we're up to 36 as of today of this one shirt. Now, I noticed that there were shirts that were somewhat similar to mine, but because mine contained one additional keyword, just one keyword, it's at the top, when you type in this particular keyword phrase, it's at the top of Amazon, and therefore it's getting all these sales. And it's funny how we learn things as we go, right, Dan? I mean, you've learned a ton, I'm sure, in your year on merch since it started. But this made me really think more carefully about, next time I upload designs, which actually should be any day now. I've been kind of putting it off for a few days, to be much more purposeful and much more conscious of the keywords that I put up. And I know you could chalk this up to a bullet point, say, be careful with keywords. But this was a really good example of 35, 36 shirts that would not have sold if I hadn't added that one particular keyword in there. You know what I mean? So it is important, and it is going to be helpful, I think, for people to be less mechanical about this, less, although we have a kind of an assembly line process. I'm following your process, Daniel. I mean, so that's how mine is working now. I'm finally, I'm on the merch train, right? I'm on the merch train 100%. I'm gung-ho. I'm excited about it. And so, yes, there is a certain assembly line to it. But when you get to the actual listing, man, when you get to the actual typing in your bullet points, thinking of the various ways that you can expand your market through that, because that's how people are going to find your shirt designs. That's been a real eye-opening lesson for me to sell these 36 of one shirt so far. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think about it almost as quality control. Because if I push through, say, 200 designs today, and 200 designs get posted today, and say 100 of them sell in the next 60 days, then I don't have to worry about those anymore. Those apparently are good and fine. And I mean, they may not be as good as they could be, but they're good. And so I don't have to worry about those. So then it can come down to those 100, and then I can try to do that process again. And then if in 60 more days only 50 of those have sold, that's still 50 more than I had 60 days prior. So I must have. So it's almost like quality control. It's almost like you're finding the things that have a little bit of a defect and trying to fix it.
That, but also, this is kind of a different topic, but on a similar note, what Mike Wall is doing is talking to business owners and setting up T-shirt Tuesdays and campaigns for businesses. And I was just on the phone with him. He's on this webinar. I was just on the phone with Mike a couple days ago and talking about these gigantic deals that he's doing, where the T-shirt is a promotional tool to land these gigantic deals. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars and even bigger. I don't want to really talk about it until I actually get him to talk about it, see how much he wants to reveal. But we're talking massive, life-changing deals. And the T-shirt is the vehicle that allows him to get in, to talk to these big companies, and to be able to sell tons of T-shirts, but actually get paid on top of that. What I'm saying is that there's going to be, we're only in the first year of this, right, of merch. There's going to be a lot of creative ideas, just like Mike's idea, which he readily admits he learned that from Chris Green, but he's the one that's taken it and just ran with it, and made it, really, really good. So anyway, the point is there's going to be creative ideas where we want to tap into things like churches and charity organizations and businesses and other organizations where the T-shirt is it's a vehicle to potentially land a deal where they sell 200 or 300 shirts. Imagine if you had like several of those going at a time, where you've got, okay, this organization needs 300 shirts and their members order it directly on Amazon, and Amazon is a trusted provider, and it all works out. You know what I mean? So I believe that we're going to have a lot of situations like that where we can market on a big level, on a big scale, as well as the other part that I was thinking of is the trendy designs, something that comes out hot and we learn how to capitalize on it in a better way than we do now, where there's a new hashtag or new trending topic or something. And rather than just leave it to the organic search, maybe there are ways to automate the process of promoting those shirts.
And to bring that back around, you're talking for the hot shirts, like the hot trendy shirts or whatever. like for say deplorable shirts, for example, you had thousands of those get posted in just a few days. And only, I would say only a couple hundred maybe sold. And so now a year down the road, if somebody thinks, well, I wonder, I'm going to go find a deplorable shirt, they go back. If yours was one of the ones that sold, then yours is still going to be there and be available to sell for sale. So I think that's pretty awesome too.
Yeah, I sold two of those.
Oh, really? I made about 4 different variations, and I'm still selling some of them. But mine's totally different though from what like the popular sayings was. I stayed really far away from those. There was way too many.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's funny how the first person or the first probably 2 or 3 people just cashed in on that one little line that comes up, you know. So I believe that we're going to have merch people pop up that go, man, I've got a system for capitalizing on a hot trend, and they're going to take that to the roof. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
that's all very doable with merch. That's what's exciting about it, is it's almost like a blank canvas that we can work with, and we can use it. Businesses, organizations, trending items, or what I would call perennial, you know, evergreen topics and things like that.
I want to get to this question from Rick really quickly. He asked, do we embed keywords in the metadata of our design file? No, merch actually doesn't, like they wouldn't pay any attention to that. It's just you're simply uploading the file, and the only place to put keywords is in the bullet points and the title, and you can't put that, like you can't do I, comma, love, comma, my, comma, mom, comma, Mother's Day. You can't do that kind of stuff in there. I'm hoping eventually they're going to give us an opportunity and a avenue to where we can put keywords, but as of right now, that's not a possibility. So I know he mentioned that, so I wanted to go ahead and get to that.
Good answer. Good question.
Let's see. Is there any more? And Rick, I don't know if that would be hurting you. I don't even know if they would even know that was there. It probably just strips that stuff when you post it. So, all right.
Let's see what other questions we've got here. Let's see. Yeah, metadata wouldn't show up. They probably strip it of any kind of metadata. Interesting question though, for potentially other uses, like if you're listing your shirts on other websites and other platforms, things like that. Do you recommend any merch-related keyword research software? This is from Natalia. I got an email today about the launch of merchinformer.com. Have you tried this one?
No, I haven't, and I'm probably not going to. I have pretty strong opinions about these little things that are popping up. There may be nothing wrong with it. Like I said, I've not used it. It may be perfectly great software. I don't know, but I do want to caution everybody to not get caught in the weeds. Don't lose sight of the forest for the trees. I feel like that I've seen it happen, that people are getting so caught up on softwares and neat little things. Like I haven't even downloaded any of the extensions at all from anybody that involve merch, because I feel like it's a distraction. It's pretty simple. This whole thing's pretty simple. Merch is pretty simple when it comes down to it. I went to Greg Murphy's Bust Proof Live conference a couple weekends ago, where we was talking about book selling on FBA, and that just gave me this whole perspective on just how simple merch is. It's far simpler than any other business you can run, really. You have designs and you post the designs, and you make sure you got some good keywords in there. And so that's and so if things like that are helpful to you and they don't slow you down tremendously, then I think that's great if they're helpful. But just I caution people to not overcomplicate it and not like take a lot of time doing like keyword research, when a key thing that all I do is just think, if I was a customer or who would buy this shirt? And then what would that person be searching to find this shirt? And as long as you can answer that question, then you're good. You don't have to. I saw some people's messaged me and sent me a list of keywords and asked me pick from these. What would you post? And they would be stuff like the scientific name for a cancer or whatever. And you just think nobody would be searching that on Amazon. So just what would a real person be searching on Amazon to find that shirt? So I mean, I sort of went a long way around there just to say no, I haven't used it, and just I want to caution everybody, just be careful about losing sight of the forest for the trees, basically.
Yeah, the old phrase, keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, sweetie. I prefer it if we want to keep it nice. Yeah. But the point is, yeah, it is a very simple business. The real secret to merch is making sure that the design that you have is in high demand. You know, the design that you put up, a lot of people are interested in it. Now, there's so many ways you could go with that. You could go with deplorables. Somebody says something about deplorables, so you make a shirt and you hope that you're one of the few. But then there's other ways, like perennial things, like things about jobs or occupations or whatever, you know. So the point is that it has to be something that people are looking for on Amazon. And then the second level of that is, will they want to buy this particular design? You know, so it's really a simple business, but there is strategy to it. And I think that's where, you know, Daniel, being one of the first and one of the most successful merch sellers out there, he's developed strategy, because as you can see, he doesn't just do the business, he really takes time to think and analyze his business as well. And that's one of the reasons I like working with him. He's always coming up with these math related analyses about his business, and I love that, because that's data. That's looking at it from a data perspective and not from an emotional perspective, which is how you want to be in business.
Yeah, it's funny. I hated math in school. Rocco had a good question here. He said, do you think Amazon will ever make a merch app or allow third-party developers to edit things like a repricer? And how long do you think that merch will be as strong as it is today? I see a merch API somewhere in the future. I think that would be fantastic. I don't know repricing, I guess, would be something that could be added into it. I don't know how useful that would be, but I see that's probably a potential thing for the future. But I really wouldn't expect that anytime soon. I don't think that's on their. I have a sort of an idea what's on their short list. I don't feel like that's on their short list, but it may be down the road. And then how long do I think merch will be as strong as it is today? I think it'll be strong. I think it'll only get stronger. Because I don't have any insider information or anything, but I completely believe they're going to be adding things like phone cases and hoodies and tank tops and stuff like that. I mean, the merch on the official merch forums, the merch employees actually ask the community what kind of items would they like to see. So obviously they're thinking about it. So I think every time, and this is going to be a little tidbit I'll throw in here. A lot of us made a lot of money when the t-shirts first started, and a lot of us are still making a lot of money. And so every time a new product is going to be released, there's going to be some people who's going to jump on that, and they're going to make a lot of money right off the bat. And so once products are released, I completely highly recommend get on them, because there's going to be big opportunity there. And I think that every time a different product is released, it's going to be a whole new wave of people making money. So yeah, I'm completely confident in the ability for merch to stay strong and to get stronger.
Yeah, I mean, imagine they can print on apparel. So apparel can be any number of things. It could be, like you said, hoodies, tank tops, or whatever. So that's a no-brainer. But then they probably have other ways to print on mugs and hats and other things like that, and gift items, and give Zazzle and Cafe Press a run for their money. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's huge. And every time they add a product, it's going to just add another income stream. It sounds like exactly what you said. I just used different words, Daniel, on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're exactly right, though. I mean, that's right.
Let's see if we have any other questions here. Mike is the local merch guy. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Yeah, absolutely. Mike is the local merch. I didn't know that this was a term, and I saw it. I think I saw Mike use it on the Facebook group. I was like, oh, I love that. Local.
I would say Mike coined it.
Yeah, it probably did. Probably did. All right, let's see. Daniel, this is from Allison. Daniel, you don't market your shirts?
Not really. I mean, I have some posted on Pinterest and like a handful posted on Twitter and Facebook, but no. I mean, overall, no. I would probably credit. I've sold nearly 12,000 shirts now in well, basically a year, and I would probably only credit about maybe 200 of those total to anything outside of organic traffic, and that is a lot of that counts the very first shirt I sold, which was a big, massive, like it was just, I want to say luck of the draw, like it just happenstance that I found a big popular thing on Twitter and sort of hit that, and so a huge amount of that 200 would be then. So no, I don't do it. All my sales are organic, basically. So yeah, very tiny percentage are things that he marketed. So the key is, and this is a good thing to talk about too. People have this feeling like, okay, I've got a shirt up on Amazon, now I've got to go market it. Now I've got to go on Pinterest and Facebook and Instagram and run some ads to it and blah blah blah. No, no, you don't. And the reason is you already have your shirt on the greatest search engine in the world, the greatest buyer search engine. People don't even have to take their credit cards out on Amazon, guys. They just hit that orange button and it's theirs. You know what I mean? Their credit card stuff is saved in there already. In fact, Amazon, I believe, is the biggest site in the world that has this credit card data already stored on their servers and is safe, of course, and secure. And all you do is hit that one-click order, and it's on its way to you, and it'll be there tomorrow, probably, or in 2 days. So the point is, you're already in the greatest marketing miracle that exists. Now, I used to call eBay the greatest marketing miracle, but Amazon has way surpassed that, over many, many years ago now, where it is the marketing miracle, where they've got this data, they've got your credit card already, hit that orange button, it's on its way to you. They're making it so friction-free and so easy for people to order. But the most important thing is that's the most trusted place. The shirts are free, free shipping, with Prime and all that kind of thing. So you're already in the best place. If you do any of these other things, just make sure that it's not eating up your time from doing the important things, which are uploading more designs, being more thoughtful about your designs, more purposeful with keyword selection and things like that. That's really the business, is getting as many of those designs up on merch as possible that you believe are going to be in demand and that are going to sell. Yeah, and now don't get me wrong, I would love to have all of my designs up on Pinterest and all of my designs up on Twitter and everything and just be able to blast it out all the time. I would love that. But it's like Dave said, it's a matter of time management, and that stuff's just simply not important to making money. I mean, I could make money, some money, but it's a matter of, do I want to spend my time doing this that'll make me a lot more money, or do I want to do the social media thing that'll do a little bit of money? So it's just a game of just playing, what do you want to spend your time on? So yeah, Dave's right. To make the money on merch is to focus on Amazon internally, like the organic part of Amazon. And there may come a day when we need to look into social media stuff, but as of right now, that's not the case. We need to focus in on the organic side. Yep. And Rick asked what my highest price point is. Rick, I think the highest price I've ever sold a shirt was $28.95, and I've sold a few of them. I don't even remember why I posted it that high to begin with, but I've sold some of them, and my average selling price, I think, is $20.54, maybe, something like that. So that's my average. And then Rocco asked, does my shirt get removed if it doesn't sell for 60 days, or is it just the first 60 days? By my understanding, well, and I'm pretty sure it says this actually, that it's just the first 60 days. So if it makes it past that 60-day window, it cannot sell for another 600 days, from my understanding, and it'll still be there as of the current rules. So yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate. Let me see. I had a question here. Danielle asked, do you post your keywords simply with commas or detailed in sentence form?
Well, actually, my keywords, and people get a kick out of this, my only keywords that I post really are in my titles. And I don't put many of those because my bullet points are all the same across every t-shirt I post. My bullet points are the same. So I don't have t-shirt specific keywords really. And so I don't even put much attention to that. So no, I don't put commas because that's actually against Amazon policy now, thankfully. That's called keyword stuff, and they will take your listing down and cancel your account if you do that. So, but if I were going to go the route of creating a different description for each t-shirt, which I do not recommend for a few different reasons, but if I was going to go that route, I would put it in actual sentence format and actually make it relevant and readable and not annoying.
Right. Yeah. I'm just noticing we have 60 new messages on here. Maybe I just haven't scrolled along with it.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
Should we do lightning round and just try to crank out as many of these questions as we can?
Yeah,
or?
you can send me lightning. I'm not sure where you're at on it, but I was about at 9:57.
I'm at about 10 minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah, you just shoot the questions at me. I'll get them.
All right. So we just had the question about, Danielle or Natalia, what we want to do is definitely weave the keywords into the sentences, into the 2 bullet points. Mike says Daniel is awesome. Allison says Daniel's the best. I used him at the beginning. Let's see. Commas in detailed sense. What do you think? Let's see here. Danielle says, Daniel, what do you think is on their short list? I guess you mentioned something about you have some ideas about Amazon and what they might be.
Well, there's a couple things on the short list that I know is on the short list that I can't talk about. But there is some things that I don't know for sure, but I have an idea, like creating new items. So like new products. And then also I know copycats is there is a big thing on their short list right now. I mean, it's just like what we was talking about. You have things that can make you a lot of money and things that can make you some money, and they don't have unlimited time. I know they have basically feels like unlimited resources because of their massive Amazon budget, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have unlimited time. So they're having to focus things. They're having to compartmentalize right now, and one of their big things they're focusing on is copycats, and I've seen that from them directly saying that that's a big focus of theirs. So right now, copycats, additional new products, and also ramping up production because Q4 is coming. And for every extra shirt they can sell, they're making more profit. So it's going to be in their best interest to sell as many shirts as possible this Q4 as well. Even though it's in our best interest, and we're going to wish they could ramp it up. But we can trust that they're ramping it up as much as they possibly can.
Yep. Rick said they need to, I think he's talking in reference of they need to create new products. But my question is, will they be able to fulfill everything effectively?
I mean, I think it'll just be a growing process, just like the T-shirts have been. I don't know who all's on here. I know some people on here, like Allison and Mike, they've been here for a year, like me. But some may be on here may watch this later who may not remember. But last year they actually they was having, I believe, 5 to 7 day wait times. I think that's what it got out to, 5 to 7 days, where if somebody ordered a shirt, they had to wait 5 to 7 days before it was even printed, and then it was shipped. And so now it's down to, I think, 1 to 2 days. And so it's fantastic. I mean, they're getting way better at it. So it's just a process. They'll get faster at it.
Rick asked, Dave, what do you think about Jet? I don't know that much about Jet, actually, other than I was part of their initial beta launch, and I learned that it was, I thought that Jet was bought out by somebody, Walmart maybe, might have bought Jet. But the point is, I don't know that much about them. I wouldn't be able to really give you any comments on them, good or bad. Let's see. All right. I left a dash. This is from Rick. I left a dash in my last listing and did not realize that. I wonder if that got me stuck in processing.
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by a dash, but like if you said like if you was trying to say Pepsi and you put PE-SI or something, then yeah, that probably will get you stuck. But if you just said like T-shirt, I use that in all of my listings and it's fine. So one thing though about like processing is some shirts will just process faster than others. And usually one thing too I've noticed, and it may just be for my account because I notice it doesn't affect everybody, but for my account anyway, shirts actually don't go live on the weekends. So I can have hundreds of shirts posted on Saturday and Sunday, and then come Monday, then I start getting the emails. So yeah, so that may have something to do with it too. It's just slow. It just sometimes it takes a little longer.
The other thing I've noticed is it's I might post a batch of, let's say, 50 designs, and then I get the emails a day or so later, and they come sporadically. Like before, I would post the designs, and an hour later, I'd get the string of emails all at one time. But now it's like they're coming more sporadically. It's kind of interesting how that's happening. Monty says, thanks for doing this meeting, guys. Well, thanks for being on here, Monty, on debate night. Danielle says, no secrets. She doesn't want you to keep any secrets from her. So unfortunately, he's sworn to secrecy. So that's something we can't affect right now. Mike says, these guys are very transparent like me. Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Mike is a great guy. I've interviewed Mike for my show before, and those videos are also on YouTube. If you guys want to join the Merch by Amazon success group.
You can just search his name up on YouTube and find the interview too. Yep. Mike Wall, Gual. He's my buddy too.
Yeah, he actually posted a link to his channel there in there too. Let's see.
Allison asked why I don't fill in the bullet descriptions. I do fill them in. I want to make that clear. I do fill them in. It's just I use the same description across all of my shirts. So that I don't. The reason to explain really quickly why I don't use like a specific description for each shirt is twofold. One, it takes up too much time. Back to time management. But then secondly, it's a whole lot more likely to get rejected. If you write something different in every single shirt, then you're far more likely to put something in there that's not supposed to be in there than if you put the same thing in all of them.
That's interesting. And what's amazing to me is that your shirts sell with that, with that strategy. That's pretty mind-boggling. So it sounds like maybe a lot is based on your title, right? And
the funny thing is, for most of my titles, I can only fit at the max 3 keywords in there. So
right.
It's weird. It is weird. I'm wondering if what I put in my bullets actually plays a part. But I can actually cover that. I'm not going to say what I put in my bullets here in the webinar, but I do talk about that in the merchstrategies.com course. I talk about what's in my bullets. And so I really do wonder if that actually plays a part because it very well could.
Interesting. Daniel, do you ever get a rejection? That's from Allison.
Since they've started doing rejections, I've only had 2. And one was, there was no reason why it should have got rejected because it was a part of a line of t-shirts. So I had a whole lot that were similar, and they were like different countries. Each one was a different country, and all of the other countries got approved except for Australia. And so I don't know. That was a mistake on their part. And then the second one was I just didn't research it thoroughly enough, and the phrase that I wanted to put was actually trademarked, and it was just, part of it was trademarked, so I didn't think to look up that part. So I've got 2.
Wow, that's an amazing record, especially out of 6,000 designs. Danielle asked, have you ever gotten a shirt taken down?
Yes, I've got, I think 3 or 4 taken down. And that was for different things too. Like one was another example of that, where a part of the phrase was trademark. I actually contacted the trademark owner, and they said it was fine. They contacted Amazon, so that worked out. And another one was just it was a phrase that I didn't even think to look up. It was "Let us turn up the beat." It was like that didn't even have the words on it. It was just the words was in the title, and so that got taken down. And then I believe there was one more. I can't remember now. It's been a while, but I think there was at least three or four, but not a lot though. Out of 6,000, I've only got about 6 total that's been taken down or rejected. I like that. I like that. I like those odds there.
That's awesome. And you know, that's one of the things I like about your system, Daniel, is you play it safe. There's all these people that are like, let me see how I can cram in this particular word, or let me see how I can cram in this trademark. Let me see how long I can get away with this. Yeah. You don't have to, guys. There's so much money to be made just doing it right, you know, and just doing it according to the rules. Which is, it's funny what Allison just said. OMG, Daniel, if you added keywords in your bullet description, you'd be a billionaire.
Well, but then I wouldn't have all the time, though. That's the thing. I get what she's saying, but if I had to do that for all of them, I would probably only have 1,500 designs up right now. So I don't know. In my mind, it plays out. So.
Well, and now, you know, and now with this new change, you have a second opportunity to look at these designs and go back in and improve keywords as they start being culled out, you know, and start being filtered. So maybe that's that was a good decision that you made back then.
And I do want to mention, though, I have taken down quite a few designs on my own terms because I actually had a whole set of designs that were selling really, really well. And then somebody posted on one of my Facebook groups I'm in, they said, did you guys know this was trademarked? And I hadn't, because it was just like the first part of it, and I hadn't thought to look up that first part. And so it was trademarked. And so I thought about it for about 3 seconds. I mourned over it for about 2 of those. And then I went and deleted them all. And my sales dropped by about I want to say about 15 to 20 sales a week fell off because of having to delete those. But I mean, it was very well worth keeping my merch account than those 15 to 20 sales. So,
so
definitely taking a lot down on my own accord.
And you know, we have to be so conscious of what a privilege it is to have a merch account and to have this opportunity. Maybe with this change, with today's change, it's gone from a semi-passive income to a less semi-passive income because we got to do a little bit more work and be more concerned about quality. But I think still, it's still the greatest opportunity I've seen. I mean, for building an ongoing income, partnering with Amazon, the biggest search engine in the world, I should say the biggest buyer search engine in the world. It's an incredible opportunity. So looks like we went through all those questions, man. That's amazing.
And Natalia, maybe is how, I think that's how you pronounce your name there. You said by the description, do you mean the additional text field after the 2 bullets or the 2 bullet lines? I guess when I've said description, I've meant the 2 bullets, the 2 bullet point lines. I should have been more clear. The description, the part at the bottom, I actually have a set phrase that goes in that across the board too. But it's a little bit different. But it's all 3. I do have a set thing that goes in each one, definitely.
Yep, we're going to close it out here, mainly because I'm a political junkie and I want to go see the debate.
Yeah, yeah. See what kind of see if Twitter's on fire right now.
Maybe we should have been there, you know, looking at t-shirt designs we could do. So we got to get caught up on our business, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We want to make America merch again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I want to thank everybody. We are always available in the Merch by Amazon Success Group to answer your questions. That's one of the great benefits. I think one of the gems is that we have Daniel in our group. He's one of the admins to be able to answer the questions. So I want to give you that link one more time. And for those of you that maybe it came from a different group or heard about us through a different way. And also, oh, I thought I gave you that link. Let me see. Why isn't it? Hmm. Oh, okay.
Well,
It looks like, okay, never mind. Maybe you can give them the link.
well, I don't know if I can give them the link. Actually, I don't have a text box there. But it's the Merch by Amazon Success Group. So
yeah, you can look it up. You can look it up that way.
There we go. Thanks, Mike.
Rick said, "Will there ever be a discount for being in the webinar for your course?" I'm assuming they're talking about the advanced course.
Not as of right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure we probably have some discount course for our Udemy course, possibly.
Yeah, actually, there is a discounted coupon for the Udemy course in the Merch by Amazon Success Group, so you can look it up. Usually it's at the pinned post at the top, and if not, you can just message us. But the reason we don't discount the advanced course, I just posted the link there, is it is already discounted, so to speak, from what Daniel charges for an hour and a half of coaching, and it actually contains 3 hours of Daniel doing pretty much what he would do on a coaching session. So we basically replicated his coaching session, but then we added even more detail to his coaching session. It was really awesome working with Daniel on this course because he kept coming to me and saying, hey, you know what? I want to add this to the course because this would really help them. And then, oh, you know what? In this, I want to add some additional detail that I don't usually get to add when I'm doing one-on-one coaching. And so we created additional modules. So basically, his hour and a half, which, how much do you usually charge for that hour and a half?
Like $995.
Okay, which is
$995. Yeah.
$995. His hour and a half coaching is now a 3-hour video training, which you can refer to over and over again. So it's basically double the content, much more detail into his whole system, his whole strategy, for almost half the price. You know, so that's why we're not comfortable with reducing the price on that. It's a bargain. Imagine if somebody said, hey, give me $600 and I'll show you how to make a 6-figure income with one of the simplest businesses on earth. That's really what it is. That's an incredible return on investment. Now, granted, there's no promises with that. The Federal Trade Commission would say you can't make promises. You know, chances are you'll make zero. We have to give all these disclaimers and everything. But the point is, what if somebody said, give me $600 and I'll show you how I made, you know, or have made, I think it's 100,000 in the first 11 months or 12 months?
Yeah, I crossed 100,000 in royalties. I need to find out the exact date, but it was right around 11 months, yeah.
Wow, awesome. And that's just the beginning, guys, because the program is so new. It's just started. It's 1 year old. And Daniel's one of the first people out of the gate making a 6-figure income. I should say the traditional way with merch. Mike Wall is making it a different way with merch, using merch as a vehicle, and that's incredible too. And we're going to have some exciting news on that coming down the road too. So anyway, all that to say, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I know we're competing with the major broadcast stations.
We did pretty good. We maintained a pretty good viewership here.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to see that. It's like, hey, either these guys don't like politics or they really like making money with merch. So, or both. But thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the Merch by Amazon Success Group.